talk about the possibility that there is a prejudiced personality. I have previously done my best to indicate that stereotypes, prejudice, they are a human tendency. All humans do them. It's not like certain types of humans engage in these, that all humans should keep themselves in check, because as human beings, we like to categorize people, and we tend to think favorably of people who are in our in-group and not so favorably about people in our out-group. All right. At the same time, there are folks who have been delving into research on personality features that could contribute to developing prejudice. Now, very importantly, this is not to say that there's such a thing as a prejudiced personality, but certain types of personality features or characteristics might make it particularly likely that you will develop certain types of prejudice. All right, so it's not like it's a personality category. Prejudiced person, that's your personality. That's not what's going on here. So one type of personality or personality characteristic that has gotten some research attention is this idea of the authoritarian personality or authoritarianism. It kind of depends on how you conceptualize it. Like, do you have this personality, or let's measure how much of this characteristic you display. This is not a personality class, but if you ever take a personality class, or if you learn about temperament in a developmental psychology class, you might learn that we have continuous and categorical approaches to these things. Continuous just means, well, everybody's got a little bit of this. Let's talk about how much this one person has. Categorical acts like you have qualitatively different categories of people. All right, well, this can be looked at both of those ways. So first of all, authoritarianism, the word shows up in other places, and that is unfortunate. Like in developmental psychology, there's a parenting style called the authoritarian parenting style. If it was sounding familiar, it might be from something like that. So in this context, all right, so when studying personality, what are we talking about here? One term, that one phrase that gets applied to the authoritarian personality or study of it is the idea of kiss up and kick down. Kissing up to authority figures, trying to get in good with those who are in power, and kick down. Take out, acting negatively towards people with less power, kicking down the saddest ladder, essentially. And so some people would claim that this type of personality is meant to explain who would very likely join the Nazi Party and believe it's propaganda. Problems with the research is we actually know that there were a lot of people who did that. It's not necessarily like there was just one type. All right, but that's the idea. That's how the research kind of got started, got going. That's the thinking style here. And so if you are high in authoritarianism, all right, if you exhibit this personality style or you exhibit it in high amounts, this is where you exhibit three behavioral tendencies are involved with authoritarianism. All right. Basically, prejudice is generalized across many different groups using a structure of authority and order as a foundation. So a lot of this has to do with how much do you value authority, how much do you respect authority, and how much do you value order, things being kept a certain way. We have different values, different levels to, different degrees to which we care about those things. All right, so the three tendencies. All right, those who exhibit authoritarianism or the authoritarian personality, the first is submitting to legitimate authority. They're not rebels, right? They respect their authority figures. They listen to their authority figures. They submit. If they perceive you as a legitimate authority, they submit, they listen. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. All right. They also do not like those who defy authority. They have considerable contempt for those who go against authority. So they think you should discipline, or they personally will discipline those who defy authority. They believe there should be punishment for disobedience, for defying authority. And they are very conformist. They conform to conventional beliefs. They like things to stay a certain way, preferably the way they've always been. They are not ones who are going to get excited about change and progress. They're going to be like, look, no, things are good. We need to keep them that way. All right, so they tend to cling to conventional beliefs. They like to conform. They like things to stay a certain way. All right. Issues with studies of the authoritarian personality. There is a very popular measure. It's not a perfect measure. It's got criticisms. A huge criticism of it. It's got a biased title. The scale that's used in a lot of studies is called the right-wing authoritarianism scale. Problem? It's got the word right-wing in there. It's biased. Clearly, whoever created this, you would guess they probably were thinking, oh, those on the right are going to exhibit these characteristics. But, okay, folks, it's not strictly a right-wing phenomenon. All right, and so that is a huge problem. The name is a problem. Also, the specific items within it have been criticized by those who are experts on test construction for having items where there can be more than one meaning. All right, so the measurement is not perfect. The measurement is not perfect. In future studies, we need to refine our measurement. Let's acknowledge that. So what findings do we have? What findings do we have using this flawed measurement? All right, so the findings that we have. People with high scores on this right-wing authoritarianism scale. People with high scores, they are significantly more likely to exhibit prejudice against African Americans, to exhibit prejudice against feminists, gay individuals, overweight people, immigrants. They are significantly more likely to support racial profiling and restrictions of civil liberties and violations of human rights as part of the war on terror. They support violations of human rights as part of the war on terror. All right. Also, I've seen recent research. One of my areas of research is on academic entitlement, and actually, there are people with high in authoritarianism, higher in academic entitlement too. All right, we got to make something of that and explain that further. But yeah, so we got to do some things with improving the measurement. We have interesting findings, but we need to improve the measurement here. All right, but that gets us started with thinking, okay, so are there certain personality characteristics or certain tendencies that make it more likely that you will adopt certain prejudices and certain types of thinking? We do have some evidence for research. Well, yes, perhaps. All right. This area of research is developing. More findings are going to come out. All right. So at this point, I'm not telling you the end result. I'm saying, hey, let's pay attention to this. Let's see what we find as we conduct this research.